Hello everyone, I am Erika of bidingschool.com and you are watching Coffee Time with Erika. This is my beloved friend and colleague Andrea and we are saying hi to you from a very special place today. So let me know if you can hear me, if you can see me, please write in something in the chat so I know that everything is all right. Until we are waiting for you, then I hope you could find. Okay, someone is watching. I see you. So until you check in with us, then just tell me, when did you get up today?
I got up at 3 today.
And why all the excitement?
Because we are at a very special place today. We came to Germany. Erika was traveling from Amsterdam and I was coming from Budapest.
Indeed. So if you may remember, Carol is actually already, okay, first, oh my God, it's nice. Carol is saying hi, and Heather, and Kimberly says that she can hear us, so that's great. Rachel from YouTube, Molly, Shelley, Joanna, Asta, Gunel. Hi, everyone. Okay, so it seems that everything is all right. And as Andy said, we are today and tomorrow also in Germany. Earlier this year, we had a beautiful source of inspiration that we were working with during one of our Bidding School Academy team boxes. I think many of you remember the Bavarian princess and Sissi, who inspired one of the collections that we were creating together. So we are in fact in Bavaria, close to Munich, about an hour from Munich. And I mentioned you that time that there is actually a company from the jewelry making component industry that is connected to Bavaria, is in Bavaria. And for that reason also we selected some components from the Bavarian princess books back then from this special company. So do you remember, or can you guess that which company I am talking about? I see in the meanwhile also Terry, Irene, Anita, Jill, Nancy, Yosin, Erika, Jessica, Martina, Aniko, Beatrix, it's her homeland. Oh, dear Beatrix, thank you so much for offering to meet us, but we are on a very, very tight time schedule. We just flew in today in the morning and we are going home tomorrow, so yeah, but it would have been lovely. Linda is here. Maria, next time maybe, Tammy, and Irene is asking. Neumann. So Andy.
Yes, you're right.
Indeed. And today you are in for a real treat because Hans, the grandson of the founder of the company, is sitting here with us. And I would like to invite him here to join me on screen. And we will talk about the Neumann company, the Rudolf Neumann company. Thank you, Andy, for saying hi to everyone. I will invite you back at the very end to also say goodbye. And we will be able to talk about the company, the industry a little bit today. You can ask your questions. So this is really a treat for today's coffee time with Erika. So
hello everybody.
Hans, thank you so much for inviting us here.
Thank you for being here.
It is beautiful how we flew in, and I loved the greenery, and I would like to first of all thank you for the tour that you gave us today of the company. So this year we are focusing a lot on education regarding jewelry making components. And we already started to share lots of knowledge about our visit to Jablonec, the crystal quarry, where most of our glass beads come from. But now it's time to venture to a completely different field, to metalworking and, well, especially to clasps. The Rudolf Neumann company makes the highest quality clasps that you can find in the jewelry making industry. Indeed, Erika says, love your clasps. Oh, Beatrix also says that you look like Colin Firth. Jessica says your clasps are absolutely stunning. Any more comparisons to Hollywood stars, maybe? I think they are appreciated.
Beauty and the Beast.
So I mentioned Jablonec, and today we are in a town called New Gablons, if I pronounce it right. Neugablons. So there is actually a connection between the two. Can you tell us about it, please?
Yeah,
Hans?
of course. There is a big connection between the two cities. Gablons used to be, or still is, to a certain part, the start of the fashion jewelry business industry in the world. For example, Swarovski originated from Gablons, the old Gablons in Czechia. And Neugablons is like an offspring of the old Gablons. And it happened due to the war. After the war, the German-speaking part of the population could not stay there anymore. And they had to figure out and find a place where they could stay. So the refugees that were bound to the jewelry manufacturing industry, they mingled in certain centers because one needed to the others. Like the metal maker needed the stone maker needed the solder, and so on. And so a big part of them ended up in Neugablons. There are a few other centers in Austria, in Enns and Linz, because again, the craftsman needed the other trade, so one needed the other. And in Neugablons was the biggest settlement of those jewelry makers and component makers. And one of them was, after the war, also my grandfather, Rudolf Neumann. He founded the company in 1947, so right after the war. They started here. This used to be an ammunition factory. They started between the bunkers, basically, to make their jewelry out of tin cans at the time.
Wow.
Because they couldn't get the base material, but later on they got the right base material, the stones and so on. And they started to make the fashion jewelry again, and it was a very important center at the time. In the 70s, more than 10,000 people were working for the jewelry business in this area. Because at the time was the Iron Curtain, so it was difficult, of course, to export or for all Gablons to the Western world, like the other way around. So we took care here pretty much of the fashion jewelry market.
Wow.
And the clasp, which was always one of the most important products of the Neumann company, they were exported worldwide. There still are, but not in that extent anymore as it used to be, because at the time was also the pearl jewelry was very en vogue with Audrey Hepburn and so on.
Yeah.
And so all of those necklaces needed clasp, more row clasp, 3-row, 5-row clasp, and that's where our products came into. And and then pretty much after that, my parents took over, and then sooner or later I took over. And here we are.
Yes. How many years later? 47, you said.
In 47, the
was
company
founded.
was founded.
Yeah. Andy, you are so good at math usually. Can you please calculate it for us that how many years ago that was?
76 years.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We are putting the hots, but even not on the
A bit
camera.
more, 76, 77, depending a bit on the dates.
How do you remember your grandfather? Like, he must have been such a great entrepreneur and using all the connections with the other companies here.
Well, of course he was, but I would say at the time they all were that had, because they had to start from nothing.
Yeah.
They came with nothing and had to start with nothing.
Yeah.
And they're here in among the Bavarian people, because Kaufbeuren is next to Neumann. They were considered strangers.
Yeah.
And they were not considered Germans, but they were considered refugees, and they had to build up their reputation. And in the beginning, because my father is from Bavarian background, my mother is from the Goblins background, so I know a bit both sides, and they really had to earn their reputation, and they did pretty quickly because they very quickly became very successful.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's and then. Just to say, they had a big influence on the development of the city. That the train came by here, the station was built up, and as I said, they were a big factor in the Bavarian industry at the time.
Mm-hmm.
In the Bavarian industry as employers, particularly also for women, because and it still is the case because there was still a lot of homework being done. So we give out work and it's being done at home.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have, even now, Mrs. Kirchmeier, she used to be here as a young girl, and she was mother. She was outside and then came back and the children were big enough.
Yeah.
So they kept on this system of, we call it homework.
Yeah. Well, the same works basically also in Jablonec with
Exactly
the glass-making industry.
It's structured the same because they come out of the same. They were colleagues. The same way. Also, in the beginning with the exporters, then with the wholesalers, and it's exactly the same structure.
It's beautiful to learn about it. Like, I didn't even realize that the two names Jablonec and Goblons.
Yeah.
Like, now when you told it to me, you shared this, then it's like, of course. But it's so nice to see that the tradition continued here after such a sad turn of history. And yeah, as you said, I imagine when your grandfather and all the other jewelry makers, from the industry, the others, they had to go through this. That really brought them together, the community.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they had a strong community here. I mean, they brought over their language, bakeries, butchers that did the traditional bakeries and so on. So they settled down here too. So it was like in the beginning it was like two separate towns. Now it's grown together. It's one. But it used to be almost an old city.
I imagine you have been back to Jablonec, right?
I have to admit I haven't. My parents. I'm a bit shamed about that, but I had plans since many years to go, and I definitely will go because we still have customers there, and I have to go. So far, we have been very lazy here. We have been waiting for the customers to come, but we start realizing it's not the way you can do business anymore. So we go out more and more. We go to fairs and to shows and so on. And also we visit our customers, and I will have to and want to visit you as well.
That would be wonderful. Like, we were already talking a bit about how to get to us to bidding school to Slovakia, and that would be wonderful. Andrea is a great host, so it's always a treat when somebody is coming, and I know that actually you like welcoming guests.
Looking forward to it.
We are also. So we are talking about metal components, especially clasps. What kind of materials do you work with?
We basically work three base materials. That's pewter or tin, It's basically pewter is another name for tin alloy, and there we work with lead-free tin by the law below 400 ppm. Then we work with brass, and we work with silver, real silver, 935. So it's above sterling silver, which is 925. And we work with 935 silver just to make sure that we're always in the sterling silver range.
When you were showing us everything in the factory,
Yeah.
then I had a feeling like, oh my God, you know so much about the industry. Do you have a background in entrepreneurship, or do you have a background in engineering, or both, or you just picked up all the knowledge because this is your family?
Well, it's a bit from everything. I mean, my background is economics and business administration. I worked outside the company before I joined the company in the US and in Italy, but in a different context. It was construction tools, so it had nothing to do with this. But when I was young, when I was a kid, I was working for in the holidays for my grandfather because he used to pay me very well.
That's a nice of him.
And putting together class, not the trade work, like not like soldering and stuff like this, but the putting the tongues into the clasp and preparing before it shipped. So that's where I picked up a little bit. And then after I joined the company with my parents. It was learning by doing and just seeing what people are doing and sometimes helping out a little bit. I got to know it a bit better. But again, many of those workstations you see, there were own apprenticeships at the time. Like soldering is a particular job you learn by 3 years apprenticeship. And so they learn different ways of soldering, different ways of cutting, different ways of preparing the base material in the end to come to a final product. So it's galvanizing, a galvanizer, or the one that runs the galvanizing plant. It's basically an own job that you just cannot learn by just being a few hours in there. I know the principles, but we have the specialists that do the job.
And you grew up already with the factory being in your family.
Yes.
When you were younger.
Yeah.
Did you think about like, oh my God, one day I want to be part of this, or on the contrary, that I want to do something else for sure?
Well, it was different again. I never actually saw myself here because my brother is a goldsmith. He lives in the United States, and he was kind of becoming goldsmith after school to maybe eventually take over. But then he decided to stay in the States. And also the company at the time needed more, not so much a technical renewal, they needed a business renewal. So that's why at the time my father asked me to join in order to build up a sales structure, which was not existent at the time. Because again, before we only sold to exporters and wholesalers. So people basically came here and wholesalers came here, and we never went out. That's what I meant with we were brought up going outside. Then afterwards, I come from a different horizon, and then I went out a lot and went to fairs and so on. Not to goblins yet.
Or Slovakia.
That's good.
So when we did the little tour today, then actually I became really emotional even after just seeing so little and learning so little compared to what can be seen and what can be learned. And I took a few pictures where we can see mementos of that history. the whole history of the company. And I would like to show you some pictures that I selected. And can you maybe say something connected to those pictures? Just a moment, I managed to mess up my screen. We are back now. Wonderful. So, sorry, squeaking noise from the computer.
It's like a random selection of what we went through.
Random selection, absolutely random.
So in the back, what I can see here, it's of course pearls and storage. It's as we manufacture basically everything from scratch, from the base material, from the pure pewter to the end product. You need also all these particular components like pearls, in some cases beads, cabochons, then of course the different stampings, forms, and so on. So a fully integrated company, it's nowadays very unusual because people specialize more. We need to have that because a clasp needs everything from the stamping to the stone setting. All the trades are basically integrated in a clasp. That's why we need all those production steps, and that means a lot of stock of material, of course.
And this picture comes from a room where there was also this beautiful cupboard, this old cupboard. I forgot to upload that picture, I think.
That's okay.
Yeah, but it was absolutely amazing. And then I have this one.
That's Kunst und Handel is a stamping machine manufacturer that unfortunately doesn't exist anymore. But it was here in the area, and they created all the stamping machines. And you see here it's originates from 1962. So my grandfather still worked that machine, and then all the others.
And we also saw this great collection of machines that you accumulated over the years. And we even saw some working. And oh my God.
Yeah, I told you when we were walking through it, the good thing on those machines, or the good thing is that they're old and they never break. Because they're sometimes they break, but very, very, very seldom. And then when they break, they're easy to repair. So there's not much electronic involved.
Nice.
Definitely no computer involved in those machines.
I'm trying to get in there.
Yeah, it's another storage room, and this particular safe case, or how do you say it? Tresor, I can call that in English. I don't know. Well, safe. Safe. Yeah. That's for the main models, the prototype models that you need for the form making. So it's important. It's stored below. So in case of fire, it will not melt and so on. Because with those models, you can restart production.
Okay.
You can make the forms. The forms you can buy, the silicon forms, but the models, that would be a big loss. So that's why they're stored safe away.
Mm-hmm. I thought when you showed us the safe that it's because of possible theft, but actually the fire.
It's more this, because for someone else it would make so much sense to have it, because if someone wants to copy, they can copy from a existing piece, and but to make the big work is also to make the forms and so on.
I see. Then I have here parts of
that's a selection of tools, like stamping tools, folding tools, and stamp forms and setting tools also.
And then I have this one. This looked so beautiful, I had to show it.
Yeah, what you see here is a silicon form, in this case for ear rings, basically ear studs. And this is now, you see the raw the raw tin or the raw pewter as it gets out from the casting machine, and those pieces basically now need polishing. They need, of course, you have to chop them off the ring, and then they need galvanizing, and in the end, they will need a cabochon, an oval cabochon set in, and then you have the jewelry piece and some nice ear studs.
Well, we learned a lot today about possible methods of production, and actually, it seems that the future is holding for us very nice adventures, hopefully together in the future, that I will not tell anything else about. I'm already accused of being a terrible teaser by many, and let's leave it that way. But I would like to ask, ladies, do you have any questions? What would you like to learn about the factory, about the clasps, about everything connected to this inspiring place and the Rudolf Neumann company? So many of our bidders were mentioning the incredible high quality of the clasps. I tried to keep an eye on the chat. I couldn't really, because you shared so interesting short stories. But for example, Molly says the clasps are so beautiful and
Thank
such tiny details. Heather says the most elegant clasps ever. Zuzi is with us. She says amazing history. And Rachel is asking about the quality control. Actually, when we walked through the factory, then many times you mentioned it. And then we do quality check, then we do quality control. So it's a very important part of the process.
Well, we don't have like a final quality control. We do have a final quality control when the ladies are packaging, but it's not a quality control department. We have to have the quality control basically from start. When you buy the base material, you have to make sure it comes from the right suppliers. Then you have to check it. You have to check the stones. You even have to check the Swarovski stones. Sometimes they're not how they should be. You have to check basically everything with the base material. Then it goes into the first casting step. So when you see that circle on the left side, it can happen that not all of them run out nicely. So if they have an imperfection, you have to select them out. So it's like first step of quality control, and then it goes on till the galvanizing department. When it comes out of the galvanizing process, it can happen that some of the pieces didn't get enough electrical current, therefore maybe have spots or whatever, and you have to select them out and maybe redo them if you can. But again, it's a constant quality process. Like it's done. We're talking here about handwork. It's handwork almost from the beginning to the end, even if there's some machines involved. But it's handwork, and it's like a goldsmith. A goldsmith does quality control in a constant basis. When he sees, okay, there's a damage or a dent or whatever, he has to fix it right away. So we do the same just in more quantities.
And then, thank you so much for answering that in such detail. Jessica asks, how many different kinds of clasps do you make? How many people work with the company?
In the company at the moment, we're about 15 people inside and about 4 to 5 people that changes outside in homework. Then we used to be, of course, many more, like the whole industry here, but due to market, we reduced. And in terms of how many clasps, I know it's more than about 1,500, but the exact number I don't know, because there's so many, and it's also the question what defines one particular class, because every class comes in several colors, and many classes come in up to 6 or 7 rowages. So it's basically also always a different class, but there's many other models.
Yeah, thank you. Then Sharon asks, how long does it take from design concept to production of final product?
Oh, okay. When we make a completely new product, also for customers, like a branded clasp or branded jewelry piece, it takes about 5 to 6 weeks for development. From the design, that can be a sketch or a technical drawing or a digital file, to the prototype. And the prototype has to be reviewed, it has to be accepted by the customer. Then we make the molds, which takes another 1 to 2 weeks. And then we go into serial production. Serial production from the accepted product takes about 5 to 6 weeks, sometimes 7 weeks, depends a bit on workload and how full the pipeline is.
Yeah, it's pretty fast, guys. And then Susie asks, do you have a favorite component that your company makes? The one you are most proud of? Can you tell us what is it?
Well, I would say in general it's the clasp, because it's the backbone of our company. If we wouldn't have the clasp, we wouldn't exist anymore. We can honestly say that, because it's just the fact that as I said, it's all handwork. The only reason we can exist against the Asian markets is that we make something special, and that we cover niches. For products that are too complicated or in quantity too small for Asian manufacturers to copy, to handle. So it's a clasp. That's our main product.
Jimmy says, I love your story. In the US, we cannot find anything that compares to the clasps we get from beading school. Thank you for your collaboration.
Thank you.
Irene is curious about the connection between Neumann and Clasp Garden.
Yeah, it's a quick story told quickly. I found the Clasp Garden in 2008. It was 2007, 2008, because we at Neumann ask minimum quantities for clasp of about 100 pieces per item per color. And that's the minimum quantity, because we start, as I said, we produce from scratch, and we needed something so that we were able to supply to the upcoming beading market, to smaller companies that couldn't buy 100 pieces at the time. That's why we established Clasp Garden. We get the name of the Neumann clasp around, and we did that for until about a year ago, and then we decided to sell Clasp Garden, because we started figuring out we didn't have a possibility to scale the business more, because it's web shop business and we're just not very good in it. And there's other people that are better in doing that, like you guys, and selling online, doing social media. We're just not good at it. And we said, okay, let's concentrate on the production and on the wholesale side more than on the retail side. That's the whole story.
Thank you. And I think what is important to remember from this is that when you see Neumann, that it is what used to be Clasp Garden before, so the same quality. So also when you visit beadingschool.com and you see Neumann clasps, then you can know that that is the highest quality of clasps that you can have, what you are used to. And then Irene has another question, actually, that about lead in the components, because lots of components had to change because of the presence of lead in components. So if it was hard to introduce this change in the material.
Well, no, it was not particularly hard. It just it was in 2008 that the European Union decided to follow the lead law, which is also applicable in the United States, which means that you need to use lead-free alloys. Like tin used to have more lead contents than it has now, and now you're just allowed since 2008 to use tin alloys that are with a lead content below 400 ppm, and that's just what you did. And because you from then on, from 2008, we were producing with those alloys, and before we produced with the old alloys like everybody else. So old stock can still contain lead, but all stock that's produced since 2008 is lead free below 400 ppm.
Thank you. Then I will select one more question. We will have time for one more question. But I want to read this from Beatrix. She says, I'm also happy, Erika, you buy from Neumann because handicraft is dying out in Europe, and I find it important to support these factories, which still provide quality and work with passion. And that is, I would say, one of the values that we pursue at building school, that if we need to decide between quality and a cheaper price, we will go for quality. We will go for a company with a story where we know the people, where we know that they care about the products. When I look at the clasps that come from you, then even by holding them in my hand, I feel how much is behind them. And we will always support those kinds of companies and bring you those stories. How we are also bringing now the story of the of of the Rudolf Neumann company. And we will keep doing that. And thank you for loving these things together with us. And yeah, well, one last question. I'm scrolling through the questions. Is there anything in particular that you would like to choose, Hans?
In terms of what?
That which question, if we have like time for one last question.
Do you have any special designs for new designs, or you may want to read it?
Yeah, Linda says, do you have special designers for new designs, or do you always reproduce the same designs?
It's basically now we used to do like summer collections and winter collections, but now it's more like customers like you come and say, okay, I want a new class looking like this. Or we produce branded glass where a logo is inserted or the logo is printed on the tongue, and to do some more merchandising for those companies too.
And there was one about the catalog. Yes, we have a catalog from the factory that we always list through when we are selecting clasps for a new collection. So there are more to come. Also, of course, for the upcoming Advent season. So please keep an eye on us. And dear beaders, thank you so much for joining us today. I would highly recommend checking beadingschool.com today, especially the metal finding section, or just in general the what's new in the bead shop section, as always, because the treasury ladies who stayed at home and didn't come with us to Bavaria, they are working hard, so they prepared nice new things for you. And thank you so much for your attention, ladies. Thank you so much for trusting us with your precious bead orders, and most importantly, thank you so much, Hans, for having us here.
Thank you for being here, and thank you, ladies, on the web for using the clasps.
We love using them. We will continue.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.